to the Coach V Show here on Island City, where the beach meets the streets, where we talk life, leadership, business, personal development, and how you, me, and we can level up to be the best that we can be. Tonight, we are talking high school football with one of the major offensive linemen that are being recruited across the nation. Originally here from the 916, now down at Mater Dei High School in Southern California. Welcome to the Coach V Show, Big Lex Mailangi. Welcome to the show, brother Lex.
What's going on, Coach? I appreciate you for having me.
No, thank you so much for taking the time with everything you got going on to come on the show. So, Lex, introduce us to the fam, mom, dad, siblings, and anyone else that's had a huge impact on your future so far and what it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, it's my mom. Her name's Ofa. I love her all my heart. She's had my back through every single part of this process, and she's inspired me through pretty much every hardship in my life. There's also my uncle, who's been there for me, especially as like a father figure, and a father figure in my life who has helped me growing up to be the young man I can be, pushing me every day and helping me strive to be the best that I can be, especially preparing for this upcoming senior year, going into college. And then there's my auntie, who's always been the silent voice in my corner. Even though during my game, she's the loudest one. But
real talk, right, Lex? Yeah.
But she's been, for the soft-spoken highlight in my life.
Awesome. Tell the audience, Lex, like, where are you from? I know you're down in SoCal now. Give us a Sports Center highlight clip, like where you went to elementary school, middle school, now in high school, and what the future is looking for you in terms of schools and some place of interest. Talk to us about that.
Well, I'm originally from Sacramento, California. I have been pretty much most of my life until I was 15. I used to go to Camellia Basic Elementary School down in Elder Creek.
Yep.
Just some small little school, but it was good enough for me. That's what my mom thought. And then later on, my grandma wanted me to go to a Catholic school, transitioning on to my middle school.
Okay.
So I went to St. Patrick's Academy down on Florence.
Yeah.
And then the COVID year hit, which I then had to do 2 years of online schooling before I transitioned into going into high school, which I now am a part of Mater Dei High School down in SoCal.
Right on, right on. And talk to us about that experience before we get into colleges. Shout out to the Holani fam, my family down in SoCal. I believe you guys have won at least one national championship since you've been there. Catch me up of how the Mater Dei experience has been.
There were really high expectations, especially going from 8th grade to my high school freshman year.
Yep.
Especially seeing that they were the number one high school coming into my freshman year. That put a lot of like mental strain and weight on my shoulders, especially coming in and them wanting me to make an impact and start right away. But I still had to work for it. I had to work through the spot. It's been tough, especially getting all the new coaching and plays and the being on that physical part, especially with all these 18, 19-year-olds who are chasing the same dream. It was just really hard, especially my freshman year. Ended up winning the starting position in the second week.
As a freshman, right, Lex?
Yeah, as a freshman.
Okay.
I ended up winning the starting right guard position as a freshman. And then throughout then, I made a few mistakes, but, it's all a part of in this whole learning process.
Right.
And then that year especially, we won a state championship.
Yeah.
I thought that had to be one of my most greatest accomplishments as far as my high school
Mm,
football this year. And then going to my sophomore year, I say it has to be the most fun year I've ever had.
mm.
Being comfortable, especially in the starting rotation, and just doing my thing in order to get better and putting clips on there for all these colleges and stuff. Um, it was an easy sweep year. Blew out like over 5 to 10 top 25 teams, like
Right,
blowouts. It's
right.
unbelievable. Uh, we had number two St. John Bosco 45-3
Mm-hmm.
um, at the halftime during
Right.
my sophomore year, which was absolutely unbelievable, especially with their history and their rivalry going on.
That's right.
Um, but comes to then, we ended up winning another state championship my freshman and sophomore year.
Yep.
Um, and this upcoming junior season, I had like high hopes, especially. Um, but I just feel like this past junior season really has humbled me and
Mm.
made me realize that there's other people working, especially. I felt like we got too comfortable and we ended up getting off track. And then we sadly went 8-3 this season and losing in the semifinals to Centennial. But it's all good. It's a part of the process. And right now, I'm just in my off season, getting ready to start cutting down schools and visiting schools and see where I really want to go. But at the same time, staying focused on my senior year to help better my freshmen and my sophomores that are coming up.
Yeah. So I did take part in that. Like I alluded to, some of my family was with you for that second state championship. Then they moved over Santa Margarita. I mean, it is such a competitive league. And then your preseason, and then in CIF in the semifinals, meeting, I think it was then, top 10 Corona Centennial. Talk about the grind that is a just packed, stacked, fully talented, well coached programs that you guys face week in and week out. Talk about the grind of that.
Uh, well, obviously, we know our schedule uh, around 15 to 20 weeks ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So we know exactly what kind of fight we're going into. Um, especially with knowing some of the players
Mm-hmm.
throughout this whole process and knowing that they're getting better, especially for us, because we know that every team is bringing out their best when they're playing Mater Dei, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something that we have to keep realizing and pushing through and staying on top and to grind and pursue so that we can achieve the goal of winning another state championship. But each week is very different
Mm-hmm.
mentally. Um, Physically, it's pretty much the same practice except with a few minor tweaks depending on who we're going against.
Right.
Uh, you know, Certain plays and certain schemes and their pros and cons of their defense, especially as an offensive lineman. I think that's something we heavily go into each game, especially just that mental part in watching film.
Mm-hmm. Who are some of the top teams, and the most challenging that you've faced so far? St. John Bosco is renowned. Um, some of my family do play at Corona Centennial, but then I mean, when can it ever be an off day, right? You got Olu, Santa Margarita, Servite, right? And then after that, you guys are going to Hawaii, playing in Las Vegas, playing somebody across the country. Um, who are some of the more memorable? Say the top two D lines you faced so far in your high school career. Who has that been, Lex?
Well, I have to say that my freshman year, I think that their
Mm,
Bosco line was really good. Um, it was especially hard as a freshman, not knowing the full standard
mm,
of the league I was going into. Um, but that really made me step up the next year. All of us, especially, later that season going into from a 28-0 loss to a 30 something to 20 something win in the state championship at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
But I think that Bosco D line was definitely one of the most memorable. Um, I'd also have to say that sophomore year,
Yep.
the St. Francis Academy was down in Maryland. Are
Yeah.
definitely one of the most memorable. Uh, even though they don't have even though they don't have the resources to do the same things that we do, they have the grit, the mental strain, the wants to
Mm.
play this game of football, and I think that's really going to take them really far, especially with the talent that they have produced. Um, but I think those two, I'd have to say, are the most memorable, where I've had
Wow.
extreme trouble with.
That's awesome. Lex, please talk to me in the audience. Talk about like how you were raised and your values, your family values, Polynesian values, Tongan values, South Sac Iraq values, Mater Dei values that helped you get to where it is that you are today as being one of the most sought after offensive linemen in America. Talk about that, Lex.
Well, like my family values, it's God first, family
Mm,
forever. You got to keep God at the center of your life through the ups and downs, and always leaning on Him through each hardship, or even with just in thought. Uh, Keeping Him there and having conversations and real thoughts, especially with the few struggles of in our family's daily life. I
mm-hmm.
think my mom and my grandma have put really much emphasis on keeping God there in my life first. Um, you know, I have to say that um, I know like modern day values.
Yeah.
It's pride, poise, and courage.
Mm,
You gotta have pride in everything you do. How hard you work. Uh, Even though, let's say we're blowing out a team, um, still giving them your all because they really deserve that. Like they deserve to get better and have the opportunity to do that. Uh, Poise, you gotta stay down. Uh, do the ups and downs, pursuit, and keep pushing, even though when times are hard. We find that a lot in our off-season training, especially when things start to really get serious. I say that off-season training is 20 times worse than in anything we do in season. But I feel like that just really helps bring out the brotherhood that we have, especially at that school. Uh, Courage, you have to step up to the plate. Uh,
mm.
each and every one of us have to, because you have to count on each and every one of your brothers to make sure they do their job. You got to have the courage to get up there and do yours while having the trust and the reliability, especially with your brothers. But that's something that we do build um, heavily at Mater Dei.
Very good. I love that. Lex, please share with us the recruiting. How's the process going? If you did have a top five or so that you were interested in, and why some of these schools, and just talk about. Come on, Lex, because I've known you since you came to our free basketball camp, right? When
Yeah,
what was that? Fourth, fifth grade, maybe?
mid fifth
Yes,
grade
it
for
was
sure.
like fifth grade, right? And you had just enough good feet to play, forward and center at basketball. You were moving them puppies, man. You were moving around, and now you're one of the most sought after offensive linemen in America. So talk about that if you would, and how whatever is appropriate. Just talk about like how recruiting's going. Who are your top schools, and really what's the decision making process? It's a big one, right? This is a big one. Family is involved, your faith, geography, because you got schools from all over America taking a look at you. Talk us through that thought process for you and your family, please, Lex.
Uh, recruiting in the start has been pretty slow, especially after my freshman year. I thought I was gonna have like a breakout. All these colleges were gonna come after me, but
Mm-hmm.
it was generally just like a reality check. Especially, um, I started to realize the hardships and the things that these kids have to go through in order to get noticed.
Mm.
Start putting myself more on the map. I had to go to these camps and stuff to show myself, prove to people that I'm here. Like I'm here to compete. I'm here to play at the next level and start. Not
Mm-hmm.
just there to sit the bench for 4 years and say I went here, USC or in anywhere of that stuff, that manner. But I'm here to play. Uh,
Yep.
you know, going into my sophomore year, it really picked up heavily right after my sophomore year when we started having our winter showcases. Um, it generally felt like the world to me when I found out that all these college coaches generally wanted me and started recruiting me a lot heavier than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this after my junior season, this is where it really starts to narrow down, and I gotta pick and choose, especially where I want to go, where I'm feeling, what's the best fit, how the coaches are, how the staff is, how they're gonna recover me for my next game, and the and
Mm.
all these decisions, especially academically. Life after football. That's another thing that these colleges keep talking to me about.
Yeah.
To have a plan, to not just worry specifically about football, because we all know that this is only a short period of our lives. Um, Most people in the NFL average is like 1 to 7 years
Right.
in the NFL. I like to say so. It's a very short period in our times, and we got to prepare our life for what we want to do after football and set ourselves up for that. Um, you know, I generally have I received so many blessings so far from
Mm.
schools like USC, Tennessee, Oregon, SMU, Colorado, Arizona State, Louisville, Maryland, um, Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
all these Big Ten and SEC schools. Um, but I like to say some of my top have to be Washington, Oregon, SMU, Michigan, Arizona State,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple more. But I have to say that generally,
Yeah.
um, that's going to be like within my top 5 to 8.
Yeah.
I like
That's
to say,
awesome. Yeah.
but yeah, coming to making my final decision. I'm in the process of setting up official visits and
Okay.
spring practice visits to see what practice is like, especially like on a random Tuesday or Wednesday. Not when they're preparing for a game when they're at their best, but when they're at their worst, and seeing how they perform.
Say
And
that again, Lex. Say you want to see how they are at their best, but also at their worst on how they respond to failure, struggle. Talk about that. What does that mean?
um, I feel like kids generally go there and on certain dates and stuff, and they see like what the best of the teams best have to offer.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I know all of that sounds extremely good, but you also have to know the bad days that happen
Yeah, that's
and
real.
how the coaches and the players are going to respond mentally and physically to keep pushing, especially for their goal that they're trying to get, which is obviously like an undefeated season or a college football championship, which is what all these teams want. So going into this process, you really have to go do your research and take mental notes on the good and the bad, the pros and cons of each team and what they do and how they respond.
Very good. You mentioned academics. What would be your major in college that you're interested in, if you could share it? And then also, what does the academic schedule look like for you? And you spend a ton of hours, weekends, right? And time doing studying film in the weight room and all that. About how long do you spend daily, weekly on your studies and academics?
Um, we don't have I haven't fully thought about the
The
major
major yet?
major yet. Uh, I know like the options would be either sports business, kinesiology,
Okay.
uh, maybe a lawyer, but I'm
Let's
still,
go. Let's go, Lex. I
I'm
see.
still, I'm still a little iffy on that one. But it's still on the table,
Okay.
especially. Um, you know, um, let's say an academic week. So here at Mater Dei, we have odd and even blocks.
Okay.
We have 8 blocks, but the schedule goes odds and evens 1, 3, 5, 7, and
Yep.
2, 4, 6, 8, like every other day.
Yeah. So like Monday would be like every class, and then all the next days are like evens, odds, or how does that go?
Uh, let's say Monday it's odds
Got
only
it.
1, 3, 5, 7, and then
Yep.
Tuesday would be 2, 4, 6, 8,
Yep. Evens.
and that's alternating
Okay.
every
Then
day.
Wednesday would be odd. Thursdays even. Fridays odd. Monday would be even.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
we'll just
Go
start
ahead.
out.
Keep going.
Um, well, on my odd days, I have a lifting block in the morning,
Okay.
so we start out 7:30. We have our own football lift. We get on the field to warm up with our cleats on and stuff, and then as soon as either we're done with that or the drills that we do on the field, we then transition to our shoes
Okay.
and then go into the weight room, which we have a prepared lift for us, especially on that day. Either meaning like squats, cleans, snatches, or like bench
Okay.
complex, especially with other minor movements between. But it's all very scheduled and set. And then after that, my third block is choir.
Okay.
I'm in the honors advanced men's ensemble, which is pretty good. We just got back from a trip from New York just to sing, which was really, really beautiful.
How awesome was that, Lex? That you got to go to New York to sing and do something you love, and you love football, right? But
Mm-hmm.
how talk about that experience and that it is football. I mean, you moved all the way like 400 plus miles from Sacktown down to the OC, right? But then you're also working on the things that you're passionate about, like singing and on the ensemble. Talk about how fulfilling that is.
Oh, it was an extremely wonderful opportunity, especially with me and my friends being able to go to a whole different state, seeing the vibe and how the people move and the bright city lights, and even the food. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
everything in New York was extremely delicious. Me and my friends could agree. But
yeah.
it was just such an amazing sight to see the Statue of Liberty, the art galleries, and um, all these new different places. It's really been opening my eyes up to what the world really has to offer, in other than just your hometown. And I think that being able to do what I love, like singing, especially on top of that, that comes with that. I think it was generally a really wonderful experience.
No, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And Lex, talk about how many hours do you think you spend a day and then weekly on academics? And talk about the rest of your academic schedule if you could share that.
Mm-hmm. Um, well then, I think weekly or just daily, if I'm gonna say. Um, you start school at 7:30
Yep.
or 8, depending on like your classes and stuff, and then we finish off at 2:10 or
Okay.
2:50. But then, as a football player, we have film right after, and then practice
Okay.
usually. But but then after that, I still have the sole responsibility of doing all my homework and stuff, and studying for quiz and tests too. So there's a lot of late nights that go into that, but you're adding
Yeah.
like an extra hour or two, and then having a little break or something. But
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say this whole transition is it's like a mini college. I'd have to say.
Yeah.
I'd say
That's
I'm
great.
on modern days like a mini college, preparing you mentally and physically for the next level. But I say that even their academics are really good.
Yeah. So I talk about, so my daughter's a 2027 graduate as well next year. She's a junior here. My son's in 8th grade, and I always talk to them, Lex. Mediocrity in one thing, academics, being disciplined to clean your room, do the things that you need to be doing. And then also sports, mediocrity in one thing and mediocrity in everything. But we got to strive for excellence. Can you feel that? And like you said, there's late nights. So regardless, the excellence that's required to get the grades it is that you want to get to be a lawyer, if you want to be a lawyer and have your options in college open, the hours are the hours. The work is the work. You got to put it in. Is that real or not? When I say the term mediocrity in one thing means mediocrity in everything. So strive for excellence. And even though perfection is not what we're searching for, but we could be the best we can be in every phase of our life. Is that too big of a concept? And what are your thoughts on that? Is that real?
Oh yeah, no, that's real. I'd have to say that mediocrity in one thing ultimately leads to mediocrity in everything. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it'll catch up to you eventually. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to stay disciplined and keep grinding, especially with whatever it is, either cleaning your room, little tasks like chores, cleaning your room, and all this stuff, or more mentally stressing things, such as like cramming time and effort to studying, um,
Yeah.
or even just your grades. I know like late nights really do matter, especially in this point in our lives. That's when you really need to sit there and just think about what you really want
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
strive to achieve that.
Oh, that's awesome. What a great answer. So, welcome everybody on here to the Coach V Show here on Island City. If you just joined us, we have the Lex Mailangi, offensive lineman recruit extraordinaire right now throughout the country, has shared with some of us. If you're here on YouTube, just rewind and just catch up on everything that he said or who his top schools are. And as we finish off here, we got Lex Mailangi on the hot seat. And I'm just going to do some rapid fire questions, and then Lex is going to be able to just respond as he's able to. And then after that, we'll close off with a final from Lex and what his message to the world will be. Big Lex, welcome to the hot seat now. Name your favorite rap artist / song. Do you have one?
I don't really listen to rap. I listen to more like reggae, R&B, and indie.
Okay,
But
very good. Who is your favorite Polynesian artist? Who is that?
I have to say Spawn Breezy.
Spawn Breezy, yeah, no doubt. Slow jams, you said R&B. Is slow jams something you're into? Name your favorite slow jam song.
Sure. Um, Not necessarily slow jams and stuff. I'd have to say
Or R&B?
I'm a little more new school and stuff,
Okay.
especially with like some of these artists that are coming out. Um, I think that I find real interest in them. But yeah,
Okay, what did you think of the Super Bowl halftime show? Did you watch it? What did you think?
I seen some of it.
Yep.
Um, I thought it was pretty cool. Um, but I know that from a live standpoint, all they didn't really get to see much, so they had to look on the big screen.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I thought it was really entertaining, especially with Bad Bunny and Lady Gaga and stuff.
Yeah,
It was
very
pretty cool.
good.
It was really cool.
Okay, name your go-to post-game meal after a big win. What does Lex want to go get?
Oh shoot. Um, During this junior season, I had to say it'd be the Big Mac bundle from McDonald's.
That's old school right there. Man, that very good, very good. What NFL team does Big Lex root for?
The Patriots.
Oh,
I'm a,
yeah?
Pa- I'm a Patriots fan.
How did that happen? How did you become a Patriots fan?
When I was 3, my mom bought me a Randy Moss jersey, but
Okay.
I really just like the mascot and the logo and the colors. So that's how I ended up being a Patriots fan. I'm not a bandwagon, I promise.
Real talk. I like that. Is there an NBA team that Big Lex cheers for?
Oh, I have to say the Clippers. I'm only a Clippers fan because my mom's a Clippers fan,
Okay.
but I don't watch that much basketball as much as I do football.
Okay. Name 2 things that people would never think about when they think Big Lex. So
Um,
there's one thing. I didn't think you go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac meal. I didn't think that at all. But what are
I,
2 things that people won't think about Big Lex?
um, I love watching anime.
Okay.
Um, I think that's something that I really found with my sister and my mom introducing me. when I was younger. I think that turned me to like a big um, anime connoisseur slash nerd, whatever you want to call it. But I do love anime.
Very good. Very good. What academic and athletic goals does Big Lex have for 2026, 2027? What are your goals?
Academics. I don't want to have C's. Uh,
Very good.
I know that people strive for A's, but I don't want to have C's. So I'm gonna strive for A's so that I can stay at the A and B range
Right
instead of
on.
striving for B's where I get B's and C's. That's what my mom always says.
Okay. Athletic goals. What are some goals athletically? I think I can assume what some of them are, but what would you specifically say? Hey, for this next coming year, my senior year, here's my athletic goals.
Um, I want to lose some weight
Okay.
until this upcoming season.
How
I've been
much you
playing.
weighing right now, Lex?
Right now, I'm like 340.
Okay. And you
So
want to get down to what?
320 to 315.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay.
That range. That's a really good weight and height, especially for coming into college. I'd have to
Okay. So
say
you 6'5" ish. How tall are you?
6'4".
6'4". Okay. Because with your hair, you 6'7" for sure. You
Oh,
six
for
seven.
sure. I think
Okay.
that
What other athletic goals? What else?
I want to win a state championship for my senior year.
Yeah.
I also want to be a captain, one of the captains on my team,
Have you
especially.
ever been captain?
No, not this year. This year they wanted to have only seniors, which was
Yep.
crazy.
Yep. That's okay. So
Which was
that's good.
crazy.
So you've never been a captain, and the goal is to be a captain, win a state championship, get down to 220. Anything else?
Um, no, I'd say
Okay.
those are just like pretty much the main things that I really want to focus on.
Very
For
good. A's and B's.
college.
Yeah. Because remember, Lex, right? It's better to shoot too high and miss, still hitting great heights versus shooting too low and hit, Lex. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
that's most people's issues is they think that logically this is what I can do, so I'll shoot for this. Nah, shoot for A's and B's. Very good. Shoot for state championships. And then go work at it and let everything kind of play out. Is that real or not?
That's real. That's real.
Okay. Who would you like to shout out here on the Coach V show on Island City? Who would you like to shout out?
I want to shout out my uncle. He's been there for me every step of the way. Um,
Drop Uncle's name. Uncle's name. Drop it.
Sean Paul Vaitai.
Yeah, man.
That's my uncle. But he's been there through thick and thin, through every little moment, good or bad. He's always been there for me to push me and to keep me high spirited and also especially put all my struggles and stuff and keep it with God. I'd have to say he's the one who helped me the most.
Very good. Lex, if you had the ear of the world, what would be your message to the world from Big Lex?
Never give up. I think those three words especially mean so much. It applies in everything that you would want to do, or if you're struggling with things, um, mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Um, I think keeping that mindset of never giving up and keeping your head down and just keep going will take you a long way, whether you think you're stuck or not.
Very good. I love that. Hey, Lex, thank you so much for your time. This this recording on an Ash Wednesday went so good. We just hit every single question. I hardly get to that. And you're just vibe, your maturity. And I've always felt this about you, Lex, since I first met you. Like for us that are veterans, I'm 50 now. We would categorize your personality type as almost an old soul, someone who is young but super mature, super aware. So when I use that term for you, Lex, please don't feel that it's a knock, man. I just feel like ever since I met you, you're in the freaking fifth grade. And I'm meeting you at the Wackford here in Elk Grove, California. I was like, what's up, Lex? And just like, hey, coach. Yeah, thanks for having me. Right. And you're with Unc, Big Sean, from out here in South Sacramento. And then I met you again with Big Mike. from Playmakers Elite. He had me and my family come over for a Sac State game, and I felt the same thing then. I think you were in 8th grade at that time, about the transition, maybe right before COVID. See, when you turn 50, you can't remember all this shit anymore, Lex. You know what I mean? But I just feel that from you. I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. We just rolled out these interviews again for the first time in a year plus. So, and I just really wanted to focus because my son is going into high school next year here in the Elk Grove area. I wanted to really feature some of the Polynesians that are out there, and you're definitely one of them. So thanks for taking time to come on the show. And for everybody that's tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in to the Coach V Show here on Island City, where the beach meets the streets. And as Lex was talking about, he said, never give up, right? And those of you that are my clients and hear me speak all across the country, the Fortune 500 companies, you've heard me say this, because success is failure turned inside out. In the silver tint in this thing called doubt, and you never can tell how close you are because it may be right here but seem so far. But stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. From your boy Big Lex and your boy William Itafoktao, Tapel Avatu Ivai. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time as we highlight some of the nation's best Polynesian recruits right here on the Coach V Show. And last shout out to brother Lex Mailangi. Congratulations on all you have done, and good luck in the future as you go after those A's and B's and winning another state championship at the Mater Dei High School. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, everybody, Lex V, one love, Ofa'atu. Choo! Peace.